Officials in Virginia expanding their investigation into public schools for withholding National Merit Award notifications until after students applied for college. At least 13 high schools across 3 counties have now admitted to it. There might be more. Let's bring in Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares. It's good to have you here. So when this first happened and a mother found out about it just because her husband happened to see the letter on the student's desk at home, you all were told, well, this was just a one-off aberration. That doesn't appear to be the case.
No, you're correct, Dana. We were told initially it was at one school, one administrative error. Now we find that it's multiple schools, over a dozen, actually in more than one locality. We know in Fairfax, we know this from public reports. You know, they hired an equity consultant, paid this individual $455,000 for about 9 months of work. Wow. One of their directives to the school district was equal outcomes no matter what, even if it means treating some students, quote, purposefully unequally. And so we're trying to determine what that means. We know well north of 70% of these national merit commendation letters were going to students that are Asian American. Our office actually Fairfax got first on our radar because of Thomas Jefferson High School. It is a public school. It's a magnet school you have to apply to attend. And they decided to go to an equity admissions standard. We're not quite sure what that looks like, but we know this. We saw close to a 20-point drop in Asian American enrollment at Thomas Jefferson High School in just 1 year. And so we had a lot of parents in Fairfax High School saying, hey, our kids are being discriminated against. And as one mom said, you know, my daughter has done everything right since the first grade. She has studied so hard. And now she's realizing she may not go to her school of her dream simply because of who she is, because she's Korean American. That goes against everything we believe in this country. And that's why we have this investigation to determine whether under our state Virginia Human Rights Act, which are our anti-discrimination statute, whether they're discriminating against Asian American kids. We've seen this happen nationally. At a lot of schools nationally in college admissions, it seems like the only state-sanctioned form of bigotry in America today is anti-Asian bigotry, and we want to make sure that's not happening in Virginia.
So Bill McGurn, he's a columnist for the Wall Street Journal. He has written about this extensively, not just in Virginia, but certainly looking at the Supreme Court case that will be decided next June. He said this today, that the new structural racism is what makes Asian American achievement so resented by our equity warriors, is that it exposes as false the narrative about an irredeemably racist America where minorities can't succeed. This progressive disdain for Asian Americans is amplified by a resentment of moms and dads who believe they should have a say in their kids' educations. So you're doing this investigation there in Virginia. The Supreme Court is also weighing college-based affirmative action admissions. Project ahead a little bit for me, maybe next year at this time. Do you think that things will have fundamentally changed?
Well, I know there's this huge level of outrage of what's happening in Northern Virginia, particularly. We have a large immigrant population. I'm a child of an immigrant. I know that education is the doorway to the American dream. And that's what's so tragic is what's happening right now, at least at the national level. You have several, obviously, Supreme Court cases. But nationally, what you have is Asian American students today are being treated very similar to the way Jewish American students were treated 100 years ago. In the 1920s and the 1930s, so many of these elite academic institutions would literally cap how many Jewish American students would be enrolled there. And you're seeing at a national level that's happening. We're trying to make sure that that's not happening in Virginia. But you hear the word equity all the time, Dana. But my point is equity without excellence is actual emptiness. It doesn't really help the student at all. It actually, I think, divides us. And so, listen, we believe in equality of opportunity, but when you have a forced equal outcomes, that's where we get in some very, very dangerous areas in this country. And that's why my Office of Civil Rights is doing this investigation to make sure there's no violation of our state anti-discrimination statute.
It's in the civil rights point. It's a very good one. Attorney General Jason Miyares of Virginia, thank you. We'll stay in touch.